One more minute. Why don't we get started? Thanks everyone for being here, and thanks to the people who are watching at the affiliates also. It's a pleasure this afternoon to introduce Dr. Judith Gasson. Dr. Gasson's Professor of Medicine, Director of the Johnson Comprehensive Cancer Center, and the Senior Associate Dean for Research in the school. She'll be speaking on resources for research scientists at UCLA.
So version control is always a problem, and I just now noticed sitting in the audience that this is the slide from May 16th. Hopefully the rest of the presentation is the one that I updated this week. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go through a series of slides that indicate resources that are available to support your research, which is really important to us. And these resources are primarily available on websites, and all of this will be available on the School of Medicine website, so don't feel like you have to furiously try to copy everything down as I'm talking. But before I go through this, I wanted to express how important your research is to the school. And now that you're here, and now that you have faculty appointments, we really want to do everything we can to create an environment in which you can actually exceed your wildest potential. And who doesn't want to do that, right? So we do a variety of things in the dean's office to try to create that environment. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what those things are right now. And I really want to encourage you to take advantage of all that UCLA has to offer. It's a remarkable institution. It's very collaborative. We are fortunate to be on a single campus, and I think it's taken me my 31 years here as a faculty member to really fully appreciate how fortunate we are to be on a single campus. And we have nice weather, and so you can easily go from the School of Medicine to the college to physical sciences to engineering. We have collaborations in the law school and the Anderson School and all over campus. And so try to do everything you possibly can to take advantage of those attributes of UCLA, which are really quite rare as you look across the country, especially the weather part right now, where I think it's 80 out there today. I'm always interested in feedback from the research community, and so if you have questions, or if you have thoughts, or if you have things that you think we could be doing a better job of which I'm sure there are many, I would encourage you to email me. My email is in the directory. It's jgasson@mednet.ucla.edu. And I particularly enjoy hearing from junior faculty, because you're the future of the institution, and if you're not successful, we're not successful. So we understand that there are significant challenges in getting your research funding right now, that the NIH is not funding proposals at a level that makes us all feel good about it, that you're only allowed one resubmission and some of those kinds of challenges. And I wanted to reassure you that the Dean's Office is very much aware of these issues, and the Dean's Office is doing everything we can in collaboration with the Chancellor's Office to enhance revenue streams other than NIH in ways to support research. And in specific, that includes two areas. One is philanthropy. We live in a very wealthy community here, surrounded by Holmby Hills and Bel Air and Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Brentwood, and so on. And in May, we're going to announce the Centennial campaign for UCLA. And because UCLA is coming up on our 100th anniversary, we're still a very young school by East Coast standards, but we're turning 100. And so the School of Medicine is going to be very focused on raising funds to support faculty, to support students, trainees, and to support the research ideas of our faculty. We've identified 6 key areas that we're going to focus on. And they are neuroscience, cancer, inflammation, infectious disease, immunity, and transplant. That's one. Cardiovascular, degeneration, regeneration, and repair. And metabolism. And by metabolism, we're specifically interested in a huge public health problem, which is obesity and metabolic syndrome and the consequences of the fact that nearly 2/3 of the population are overweight or obese. And so we're really trying to reach out, bring people together around these things. And people ask, does it include basic research? And in our mind, it includes really, really basic research over here. I'm a basic scientist. When I had a big lab, that's what I did, was basic research. All the way through translation into early phase clinical trials, into the community that we serve here in Los Angeles, the most ethnically diverse community in the United States, and back from the community to feed the research. We have very strong, this must be me moving, we have very strong population sciences, we have very strong outcomes, health services, and all of those types of things here at UCLA. And we really want to take a broad view. If you were to ask me in my dean's role, what's the most important thing to me, I would tell you that the single most important thing to me is to have an impact. And I think we have the talent pool here at UCLA among our faculty and students and postdocs, and hopefully we have the leadership here at UCLA that we can have a dramatic impact both in health and in disease. Okay. So I'm going to go through, as I said, some web resources that are designed to help you identify external research opportunities for funding, the many intramural programs that we have within the University of California, UCLA, and other components on campus. I'm not going to talk about the limited submissions and awards because that's handled by your deans. I'm going to talk about how to find out about shared resources, technology, core facilities that are available to support your research, the types of graduate and postdoctoral support that we have here at UCLA, how to use the faculty database, and to make sure you're signed up to receive the weekly message digest. Before I start, I'll tell you that all of this is going to change. We're in the process of reorganizing the website, but it's not going to change right away. And so this is still the way to access these resources today and for the next few months. So, as you're probably aware, there are a number of sources of extramural research funding. And the traditional mechanism is the NIH Investigator-Initiated Grant, or the R01 grant. And we have many, many R01 grant recipients on campus. We have people with multiple R01 grants, and we anticipate that we're going to all continue to apply for NIH funding because it's still the largest source of funding for biomedical research. Some of our more technological, engineering, and physical sciences research is supported by the National Science Foundation. And then given whatever your area is, there may be an external foundation, such as the American Cancer Society or the American Heart Association, that provides funding for investigators at different levels in their careers and also for actual research projects. Other sources of funding, in addition to the individual grant that the NIH supports, are different types of program grants, and we usually refer to these as P and U grants. And this is a group of faculty coming together around a large problem, bringing different kinds of expertise. And we love these grants because they tend to be very large, and they tend to fund not only a group of investigators, but to also fund some cores. And I'll talk at the very end about what we're doing to facilitate investigators submitting those types of grants in the school. There are other government agencies. DoD, this is Department of Defense, supports certain types of cancer research, Department of Energy, DARPA, and so on. And so your work may be appropriate for those agencies. There are other large foundations that are not disease specific, the Howard Hughes and the Keck, et cetera. And there are other small local foundations, there's industry partnerships, and I already mentioned the focus on philanthropy in the School of Medicine and the campus going forward for the Centennial campaign. So there are a variety of places that you can go to get information. Come on in. Obviously, you can go to the website of the agency, and they will have the types of awards and the qualifications and what they're looking for. Vice Chancellor Jim Economo is one of us. He's from the School of Medicine. He's a surgeon, and he has a very complete funding resources listing on his website, and I'll show you some screenshots from that in just a minute. And then I will show you the School of Medicine Dean's Office website, which is coming from my office, which also has links to these types of resources. So this is the Vice Chancellor for Research, Jim Economou, and his resources website. And it hasn't always been the case, but right now the Vice Chancellor for Research and the School of Medicine are well aligned in terms of identifying these opportunities, getting the information out to the faculty, and finding the best candidates to submit these applications. So if you go onto his website, you can find out information about external funding opportunities, UCLA funding opportunities newsletters, transdisciplinary grants, which are intramural grants out of his office. He will also, if you don't want to go on his website, he will also send out an email to you if you're on the listserv with some regularity in which they've culled through all of the opportunities that they can find. They have a staff looking through opportunities, and they will send ones that are specific for the UCLA Health Sciences community. So you can get onto this listserv by hitting the subscribe button right here, and then this will come to you passively in your inbox, and you can scroll through it. When this comes to you, there will be information like this with links, upcoming NIH opportunities, federal opportunities, non-federal foundation, and so on. So this is really very useful, because they're doing all of the legwork in scrolling through and finding these opportunities, digesting them, and sending them out to our faculty members. So this is the David Geffen School of Medicine website, and if you click on the research button, that will take you to the following information that you have access to. First of all, if you're looking for funding opportunities in a specific area, you can actually just type that in, and you can submit a query and do a search. And what will come back are some live links to different organizations that match your query. And so that's another good place to start, to get links to agencies that you may not know about or may not be aware of these funding opportunities. There we go. Okay, now we're going to talk about intramural research opportunities. And as a junior faculty member, those of you in here who are junior faculty members, the first thing you want to do is start to apply for these intramural opportunities. Many of them are targeted to you. And a lot of good things happen when you apply for this. The best thing is you might get the money. That would be great. If you don't get the money on the first round, you'll get feedback. And feedback is really super important, right? Because if you're a junior faculty member, you need all the feedback that you can possibly get. And then you can use that feedback to resubmit at a later round and not only get the money, but possibly have an improved project because of the feedback. So this is the website of our Clinical Translational Science Institute. And on this website, you'll find a number of sources of funds. One source of funds is a technology funding, where you can say, I really want to use the molecular screening shared resource to screen for small molecules, but it's going to cost me $10,000, and it's kind of a fishing expedition, and I don't have money for it. And a committee will review it, and they will give you a coupon for $10,000 that you can use to do flow cytometry or molecular screening or something with animals. And that's a great way to generate preliminary data for a future application that you're going to be writing. They have a lot of training opportunities for those of you who are still in the training mode, K-like opportunities that they fund. They also partner with other organized research units on campus, and they co-fund what we call transdisciplinary grants, which are like a program project, but it's funded internally. And so those are funded at levels of about $200,000. And again, the idea is to get everybody together, generate the preliminary data as a group, and then be able to apply for a P or a U grant from an agency that's external. So the CTSI supports research in a lot of different ways, and I would encourage you to look around. If you have questions, there's email links. You can get more information from people. The School of Medicine has for many, many years had the Stein-Oppenheimer program. And this is our brochure for 2014. We solicit applications in the fall, once a year. Each grant is $30,000. They're meant to support pilot research. We love to support junior faculty with these grants. There's a committee that reviews them and makes recommendations, and that committee is actually meeting next week, and then we fund them in the spring. In the middle of the year, we actually have an event with the donors, the Oppenheimers and the Spitzers and the other folks that donate money to this every year. And it's very fun for everybody to come together to talk about their projects, to meet the donors, and so on. And again, it's an opportunity for you to get $30,000 of funding, to generate some preliminary data, and to turn that into a larger award. If you're interested in partnering with industry, we have expertise on campus from the Vice Chancellor's Office, the Office of Intellectual Property and industry-sponsored research, and they can provide you with help in terms of language and sign-off and some of those types of things. The University of California has a program shown here. So this is the big University of California. They have a grants office. And if you go to their website and hit programs, they have proof of concept program grants to help fund industry partnerships. They also have funding for breast cancer research, for HIV/AIDS research, for multi-campus activities. And this is out of the University of California Office of the President. So I would encourage you to take a look at what they have as well. These grants, they're competitive. The intramural grants are all competitive, but the success rate is, of course, much higher than what you would see with external funding. You can put it on your CV. Hopefully you'll actually get the money and be able to do the work. Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about shared resources and core facilities, and my philosophy on these types of shared resources is right now we have over 100 entities that call themselves shared resources. And it's a little bit difficult to navigate. We had a proteomics review 2 weeks ago, and we had all the proteomics people come and talk about what they provided. And what I kept hearing over and over again is, how's a junior faculty member ever going to find their way to the right place? And the core directors all said, oh, we will guide them over here if they want to do this, and over there if they want to do that. But in an ideal world, we'd have one door that you walk through. If you want to do proteomics and you describe what your experiment is, you have an interaction with a proteomics expert who helps design the experiment gets carried out, and everybody's happy. So we're in the process of reviewing the shared resources, trying to consolidate them, and really to tell ourselves that we have the most modern technology available to our faculty, and we will continue to stay at the leading edge, because you can't be successful if you don't have access to the leading edge technology. That's just the way it is. And you can't be an expert in every single thing, and so you need the expert advice from a really great shared resource. We also have a shared resource consortium with the Vice Chancellor's Office that funds shared resources to acquire new technology, to get the latest and greatest sequencing machine or mass spec or 2-photon microscope, whatever. And so we have mechanisms to support that as well. So to find out what we have, again, go to the David Geffen School of Medicine website and click on research, and then click on cores. And they're sort of divided up into buckets over here that you can figure, oops, see, I thought I was really on the website, but I'm not. So microscopy and imaging, miscellaneous, clinical, cell biology, those types of things. And so what will happen when you click on something, underneath, right now we're looking at molecular analysis, genomics, and proteomics, and here's a list of shared resources. Here's the molecular screening shared resource. If you click on that, it will take you to a page. This is the director, Ken Bradley. It gives you the information about Robert Damoiseau, who's the manager, who's fantastic, who spends really a lot of time helping design the experiment. If there's any readout in the universe, he can measure the readout. And we have lots and lots of great small molecule libraries, siRNA, those kinds of things to help you do your screen. And this shows you where it is and the contact information, what services they provide, and so on. Okay, so you have grad students and postdocs in your lab, and you want to get them supported so that you can take the limited amount of NIH money that you have and hire some more people, hopefully. And so Again, we're on the School of Medicine website, and over here you can see there's a tab for graduate and postdoctoral training programs. And you'll find these are all of the funded training grants that we have at UCLA right now. And you can click on those links and try to find the ones that are appropriate to the type of research that you're doing. Try to find out through this process when our applications accepted and reviewed and so on. And we have a lot of training grants. They haven't been as centrally coordinated as we would like, and so that's happening underneath the Graduate Bioscience Office, which Greg Payne is running. And we're going to try to also encourage more people to submit training grants for support of trainees and to provide a lot of technical and grant writing support for people who want to submit a training grant so that they're able to send out the best possible product. Okay, I'm now going to introduce you to the faculty database. So, we're back on the School of Medicine website again. We're back on research, and we've clicked on a tab that says faculty. And in this case, I'm looking for a specific faculty member to find them. And so I'm going to look for Kelsey Martin. Oh, and there she is, Kelsey Martin, Chair of Biological Chemistry. And so the faculty database will tell you things about what her appointments are, awards and honors that she's received, what her interests are. The faculty database requires that faculty update their profiles, and so sometimes it's not as up to date, and so we have to go and nag the faculty. We're installing new software that'll automatically scour the web for publications and some of those kinds of things, so we don't have to actually rely on the faculty to update their own profiles. You can also search by, there we go, keyword. And so if I'm looking for people who do 2-photon microscopy, I can type that in there and then get a list of people, which at least gives you a place to start. And you can contact those folks and see if they're really the right people for your collaboration that you're interested in, or if they can give you a clue about who else to contact. And then this is we're still on the School of Medicine research page, and this is just additional resources that are on this page, and it includes how to update your profile, information about industry relations, the Vice Chancellor's office, and so on, state and local and national resources. Okay, the weekly message digest. So what's happening in the past is that people are getting 1,000 emails a day with seminar notices and journal clubs, and we all have way too many emails, and so the school decided to collect and consolidate all of this into one weekly message digest and push it out to the faculty. So again, you want to make sure that you're on the listserv for this, and this will come to you passively in your email box every week, and you can look and see what's happening. Oh, look, there I am right there. You can see what's happening next week and decide how you want to budget your time so that you can get to all the great seminars and workshops and journal clubs that you and your students can benefit from. So it's divided up into headlines, the CME courses that are being offered, continuing medical education, seminars and symposia, announcements, research study, and so on. And you can automatically download it to your Outlook calendar if you just click on the icon to do that. So this is information that the DLAM, the Department of Laboratory Animal Medicine, has put together with links for people who are doing animal research of any kind, mice, pigs, whatever kind of animal research you're doing. And so this tells you how to get certified, how to get trained, and all the kinds of things that you need to do to conduct animal research, and it's very complete. It talks about pathology services, biocontainment vivariums, registration of mutant and transgenic mouse lines, and so on and so forth. So this is really a very helpful resource as well on the website. And then finally, you can find the policies and procedures that are in effect here at UCLA for contracts and grants, technology transfer, and some of these other types of activities that we've been talking about. If you're new to UCLA, you probably know that there's a certain amount of training that you're required to do for both yourself and for the folks that are going to be working in your laboratory. And most of those trainings are online. A few of them are in person, but these have been aggregated here at the Health Sciences Training Lab Training Portal. And you can get in here and figure out what it is you need to do to be certified. You'll get email reminders when you need to be recertified. And so we really are trying to do, we are an educational institution. We should be able to do as much of this online as possible. And some of the folks on the education side have recently expressed a desire to help out with these online types of training. Okay, this is my last slide, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. This is the rapid response team, again, that you can find on the School of Medicine Research website. And this came about when the PCORI, patient-centered research, I'm not going to get it quite right here, but the CMS, Medicare and Medicaid, started funding outcomes research that was focused on patients, which is important because it's important to know what works, what doesn't work, what are the outcomes, what is the quality of care and quality of life, and so on and so forth. And the problem was these RFAs would come out and there'd be a 30-day turnaround. And so unless you were sitting there hovering over your, the website day and night, there would be no way for people to know. And we really wanted to be successful. It's not that much money right now, but it's going to be a lot of money in the future. And so the CTSA that I talked about before put together a rapid response team to sit on the PCORI website, figure out what the RFAs were, digest them down to a nugget that people could understand, and push them out to people who would potentially be eligible. When I came into the dean's office, I thought that was great, but I thought we needed to be doing more than that. I thought we needed to generate boilerplate language for people. I mean, who wants to sit down in front of an empty computer and write resources and environment pages? That's a waste of time, right? It is what it is. I mean, there will be specific things about your laboratory, but the resources and environment of the university and the School of Medicine and your department and so on and so forth. So we're collecting and generating boilerplate in this office. So we hired 2 more people, and we're now calling it the Rapid Response Team Grants Facilitation Unit. And so in addition to generating this type of boilerplate, we have language from NIH-funded cores that are on existing program projects and U-grants that people can see what kinds of core resources are getting funded by the NIH. We'll also set up meetings with the team. If you're doing a P or a U grant, sit in the meetings, take notes, and help with the administrative parts of putting together one of these big grants, which are significant. Chasing the biosketches, making sure the budget justifications match the budget, all of the components that aren't the science part, that we as scientists aren't that great at doing, but an experienced grant team can make sure that when your grant's ready to go, all of that stuff is really professionally done and ready to go. So that unit is, in the first year, facilitated 44 grant submissions, and thus far, $18 million of new grant funding has come in the door, and we haven't, of course, heard about all of them. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking about putting together a P or a U grant, to reach out to us and let us show you the help that the Grants Facilitation Unit can provide. This is some of the activities of the RRT. So that's, the other, I talked about philanthropy in the beginning. The other thing that the school is doing to help overcome the diminished NIH funding is placing new emphasis on generation of intellectual property. And we've done this. The Vice Chancellor for Research, again, Dr. Economo, took the lead on this. He partnered with a faculty member from the Anderson Business School and started looking at how we handle intellectual property and how we advise the faculty members who may have something that they're interested in licensing or forming a spin-off, generated a multitude of reports, came to the conclusion that we're doing and have been doing a terrible job, that we're leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table. We're signing off on agreements that give away all of our IP. And we're doing that because in many cases the faculty don't realize they're giving it away. In many cases, the faculty member just wants to move the research forward, which we all do. And so the faculty member is willing to give up their IP just to move forward on the research. And in many cases, the company is dangling a few $1,000s in front of the faculty member, and the faculty member is willing to give up their rights in order to get $30,000 or something like that. So we've hired some very smart people to advise us on this. We have an advisory board that advises us as well, and we really want to do a much better job going forward in generating funding streams that will benefit you as the principal investigator that generated the IP, as well as the university and the School of Medicine. So that's we're about 4 years into that project, maybe 3 years into that project, and it's coming along very well, and I think it's going to have huge benefits going forward. So there are people for you to talk to if you think you have something that has intellectual property benefit, and they can give you really, really great advice. In the end, you're going to do what you think is the right thing, but at least you'll do it based upon the best available guidance and advice from people who have been in industry and been in academics and really understand the fine levels of detail about these types of things. So that's what I was planning to talk about today, and I'm happy to answer any questions from anybody here, or where are you guys? Are you at all of you?
Harbor and all of you.
Harbor and all of you, okay.
Thanks, Dr. Gasson. Really a great review and a great amount of material, very, very impressive.